Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. And by the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission advocates on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. Tonight I have the pleasure of talking with the Chief of Police from Gresham, Robin Sells. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate
Welcome.
it.
Yes. So you're relatively new. You're still within your first year, correct?
I am.
As chief.
I became interim chief last April,
Okay.
and then I was appointed permanent chief back in November.
That's what I was thinking. It was in the fall. So So how's it going? Let's see. How does that work? You're police chief. That's a huge job. How's the first 6 months or so going for you?
It's going well. You know, I'm truly blessed that I have a group of men and women that work for me that they just make my job easy. And I shouldn't say that.
I doubt if it's easy, but
but they make my job easier.
Okay.
Maybe I should say that. But they make it a pleasure to come to work, and not only do they do good work, they have fun while they're at work too. So I think that's important.
That's very important. That's very important for morale of any organization or company or police force.
I agree.
Sure.
It's a sign, I think, of a healthy organization when you can laugh and joke, especially in light of what the men and women of the Gresham Police Department do on a daily basis. You know, there are times that they are faced with incredible danger, but yet then, 2 hours later, they might have a call that just makes them laugh. So it's a different job. So
yeah, as everybody knows, right now is a really, really tough time to be a police officer in America. I think being a police officer has always been a very tough job, but it's especially hard now, and especially because of with social media and everybody getting stuff out there really fast and video, and then there's bad things that happen. People hear about it right away, and the trust has been broken to a lot of people. A lot of people don't have the trust in the police officers that they may have had as kids or in previous generations. How do you deal with that, and how do you keep your police officers, who I'm sure are by and large wonderful, caring, dedicated people, how do you keep their morale up and keep them committed to doing the work they do?
I don't think there's any magic formula. I will tell you that I think the men and women of our police department really feel supported by the Gresham community. We are fortunate here that the majority of the people appreciate their police department, and they support them on a regular basis. I always like to tell the story that coming from California, this didn't happen as much down there as it does here, but literally in the time that I've been here, 6 different times I've gone to pay for my lunch, and someone has already paid for it.
Really?
And anonymously, and not that we're advocating that you do that,
but that's really kind and generous. Yeah.
Incredibly, and it's just a way for the community silently saying thank you. And I know if that's happening to me, and I'm not out there as much as my officers, I know it's happening to them a lot as well. So they feel it from the community. Cool. They know that the community is behind them 100% of the time. So yeah. That's really important, because it's a scary job, I'm sure, a lot of times, but it's also a job where a lot of times you're getting out there in the community, and you're being you're protecting the community, but a lot of times it's like just meeting people and letting them know that you're there, and reassuring them, and it takes a special person to do that job. Why do you think most people get into that line of work? What do you? I mean, is there a reason that sort of bubbles to the top for people that are in that line of work? I don't know. I believe it's a calling, and I think there's something intrinsic in you that you feel like you need to go out and help people, and you want to be part of of a solution. And we need a lot of solutions these days.
Well, we do.
And I think people that apply for this job, they look at it as an opportunity to come out and really make a difference. I believe our officers are making a difference on a daily basis. They really do. Some of the stories I could tell you, we had one officer who, after a pursuit, during the pursuit, the suspect's car, the tires were blown out. And when the suspect's wife came to pick up the car, that was the only car that she had for her 3 children and herself.
Oh, wow.
And that officer, Gresham officer, took her and paid for tires for her car out of his own money.
Wow.
And I know that I can tell you other stories, Monica, that are similar to that. That's one that just comes to my mind. It's just out of the goodness of his heart, he saw somebody that needed help and needed another chance, and he took that chance on her. And that's not the first time he's done that. So,
those kind of stories, it shows the humanity, obviously, of a police officer, but the generosity, because they must run across situations similar to that all the time, where they're dealing with people that something bad has happened. Either they did something bad or something bad happened to them, and or else it's you're also there for medical emergencies. A lot of times the police are on the scene, or there's an accident or something like that. That's impressive. And a calling, I've never really thought about it that way, but that kind of makes sense. I mean, I feel like I'm somebody who likes to help people, and I want to make a difference, but I wouldn't do that. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. It's just not something I feel like I could do. So I really do think it takes a special person. So when you're hiring people, how do you find those special people? It's a process to become a police officer.
It's a very long process.
And you need more in Gresham, is that right?
The City Council just gave us an additional 4 positions for police officer, which we desperately need.
Yes.
So right now we're looking at trying to fill 10 positions. We've just opened it up about a month ago. So let me put a plug in here if you're interested in it. Please go on our website and apply. But let me warn you ahead of time that the process is very long and involved. It starts with a pre-screening, and then you get to an oral interview with a panel of 3 people. And once you go through that, then you go through a very extensive background. And that includes looking at your criminal history. Obviously, for obvious reasons, we wouldn't have people that have a criminal background.
Makes sense.
But we look at financials. We look at how you've dealt with other employers and issues in the past. And then once you get through the background, then you come to the executive interview, which is with me. And sometimes it's difficult because you look at somebody, you have maybe 20 or 30 minutes with them, and you're trying to make a decision whether or not this person's right fit for our organization. And we want it to be a fit for them as well as for us. So sometimes that becomes a little bit challenging.
Well, no matter how badly you need police officers, you're still going to really make sure that that's a good fit. You're
Absolutely.
not just going to hire them because you need bodies.
Right. We need people that are going to make good decisions and that have had those opportunities and some life experiences.
Right.
So, yeah.
So if people are interested, they'll check it out.
Yes,
don't quit your day job and while you're going through the process, because you may need that.
Once you get through our process, then you go to the police academy up in Salem, which is the only police academy in the state of Oregon. All police officers go to the same academy.
Know that. And how long is that?
It's 16 weeks, 4 months.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and it's a live-in academy, so it is a strain on a family. If your husband with children or something like that, you're away from your family during that time, learning what it takes to be a police officer.
Wow.
So even though it's 4 months of training, I still feel it's never enough training. We continue to train our officers after they come out, and we really place a high importance on training.
What are some of the things that's new in the training for police officers over the last couple of years?
We deal with a lot of mentally ill people out in the community, and so part of our training deals with how to deal with those types of situations and de-escalation, so that we can go into a situation and not have to use deadly force and try and de-escalate a situation before we have to go to that next step.
Right.
So, and those trainings take sometimes 40 hours for a good solid training.
Yeah. So. Well, there's a lot of issues out there, and there's a lot of mental illness out there, and you don't always know.
Right.
When you are dealing with somebody, what their situation is. So.
Yeah, I would say probably about 35% of our calls deal with some sort of mental health issues.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, that's a high amount.
It is very high.
Yeah, I know. We there was a shooter situation here a couple of years ago, and we had some, not here in our studio, but in the area, and so we asked some of the Gresham police officers to come out and kind of talk us through as a organization how to deal with that situation. You know, if somebody were to come in, and they were great. They were great. I mean, they were willing to come and spend their time to just sort of educate us as the best way to protect ourselves. And that was wonderful.
Yeah, we actually we held a class. We called it the active shooter training class.
It was, yes.
And we had it at City Hall, and to be honest,
we actually videotaped that.
Oh,
we videotaped it. Yeah, and then we had them come because we were all able to attend it, and we were able to watch it. But we had some other questions, and they came and answered. Yeah,
we weren't sure that anybody would come, and as you saw, it was packed.
It was.
And so we're going to hold another one here in the fall, probably September, October. One of the captains is working on that to present it again, because it was so well attended, and people were sorry that they missed it. They wanted to be able to be there.
Yeah. So and I think the more that the police officers are involved with the community is the better it is. You're a proponent of community engagement.
Oh yes, incredibly so. And I think the reason why it's important is because, again, like you mentioned before, when somebody calls the police department, it's not to talk about something happy that happened. It's always a crisis that they've had, or some disturbance or controversy with their neighbors or something similar like that. So we want to be able to have the community see the officers in different perspectives, so that it's not an adversarial relationship at all. So we've really emphasized some of our,
So is this some of that community engagement you're talking about here?
The top picture up there, it was at City Fest. That was our citywide open house. That's our SWAT team there. And then the middle picture is a tug of war we had at Gresham High School, where some Gresham High School students felt that it was important to spotlight the police department in a positive light, because they didn't feel that they were getting good media. So this was a field and track event that they had, and that's one of our officers there and some of our cadets there. And then the one on the right is our annual Shop with a Cop. That's Officer Anderson there, and we take under some of the kids that don't have as many opportunities as other kids do, and we take them out. The donations give like $150 per child
to go shopping,
and they get to go shopping. And the surprising thing is that they usually buy for their siblings, not for themselves.
I've heard that, and I think that's rather heartwarming in itself, isn't it?
And we have a very special relationship with Special Olympics, and you'll see the two pictures on the opposite side, giving out the medals with Special Olympics. And the thing that I really want to emphasize when you look at these pictures is these officers are here on their off time.
I was wondering about that, because, I mean, they have a lot of work to do, and I'm thinking, well, gee, it looks like they're spending a lot of time just doing other fun things.
Yes.
But this is their own time.
They come on this is after they've put 40 hours in a week. And I'll send out an email, and I'll get volunteers, and they'll go and they'll spend 4, 5, 6 hours out there working with our community. That was Dr. Seuss Reading Day, Officer Mike Erickson, and going out to the students. And so when a school calls and says, please come out, I think it's important that we respond to them, because when we see kids at that age, we want to have that bond with them. I talked to you earlier about the power of the sticker, and I really feel it's important that our officers always have stickers in their pocket to be able to give kids, because when you stoop down and you sit down with the child, you get one-on-one with them, and it makes such a difference. And then their parents see you having that interaction as well. So I think it's important that we start at an early age and make sure that we get with our youth so that they know the police officers in a positive light.
Right, and I agree. I think that's important. And I also think it's important for parents to support that, because a lot of times you'll hear parents saying negative things, and that's really frustrating, I'm sure. It's like, come on, we're trying to help your community. We're not out here to, we're here to support you. And I think it's important to teach kids that the police are there to protect us, and they're, and they obviously have some really good people. So one other thing I wanted to ask you, we're almost out of time, but this community has a huge immigrant and refugee population. How do you build trust with people who perhaps are victims of domestic violence or sex trafficking or something like that, yet they're undocumented? How do you build trust so that they will come out and report those kind of things?
You know, it really is a challenge, and we've been doing monthly listening sessions where we go out into the community and we try to sit down and just let them talk and hear us. We make it very clear to them that we are not ICE. We're not here to deport anybody. By state statute, we're not allowed to do that. So we have to start somewhere. So
Right.
every month we meet with a group and we talk to them about what their rights are.
Best place to start.
Right,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the assumption is that they're going to tell their neighbors, they're going to tell their family members, and little by little, I wish we had more diversity in our department. Sometimes when you're hiring, it's a little bit challenging,
Yeah.
but we have a 13% Latino community, and I don't have near that as far as
Right,
officers.
right.
And I need those Spanish speakers to be able to make those connections with our community. So
if you're looking for a job as a police officer and
Yes.
you're Latino, come on down.
yes,
especially.
definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
We're out of time. Thank you so much,
Thank
Chief
you,
Sells. I
Monica.
really appreciate you being on here today, and best of luck. The community engagement is a really important part, and I think, to everybody around here. So I encourage you to keep that up.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this segment of Community Hotline, and do support your local police officers. They're working very, very hard for us. And don't go away. We'll be right back with one more segment of Community Hotline.
Possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. And by the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission advocates on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
We've all heard the term America as the great melting pot as far as bringing in people of different backgrounds and cultures. I kind of think of community media as a melting pot as well.
What is it about this place that makes so many different people come together?
It gives you the ability to come out and say your point of view.
It's very important to me and lots of other people also, for us from different backgrounds, different beliefs.
Different religious groups.
It doesn't matter what your color is, what your race is, what language you speak. Anybody can come.
This is a freedom of speech place. It's a place where you can bring your ideas.
Well, that's a wonderful thing about our democracy in this country is providing the soapbox.
This is America. This is American Station right here.